ocean and the sail. That was a dream we had for quite some time. To be able to observe those wonderful tropical sunsets, flat seas, good wind, smooth sailing. What a dream. Dreaming extended to anchor in some beautiful desolate cove, tropical islands, and be the only boat at anchor on that particular cove. And that dream we wanted to accomplish. And to sway quietly at anchor, watching the explosion of a tropical sunset. That was part of the dream. And of course, being greeted by those honey skin-colored wahinis whenever we arrive to this tropical paradise, and have the big kahuna come and greet us upon our arrival. And someday, in some deserted cove, to find one of those island mermaids. Of course, it was a dream, but toward that dream we prepared for a number of years, getting the boat ready, and the Vivere finally was approaching that particular day of departure in June of 1981. There will be only a crew of 3. Dan, son number 1, and Rob, son number 2, and of course the third one of the crew, yours truly, the captain, navigator, master cook and dishwasher. Finally, the departure day has arrived, with bands playing, Magali, Renita, Rina, all of our friends coming to the docks to wish us goodbye, fair winds, smooth sailing, and enjoy your trip. We are getting ready to board and cast off. One final wave goodbye as we clear the dock, hook up the sails and hoist them up on the main channel, heading up toward the breakwater. A flotilla of friends are following us down the main channel. Magali is staying home, taking care of the home fires. She will join us later on in Hawaii. Finally, we clear the breakwater, full sails up, and we are heading out to the open sea. Our first stop, of course, not quite a tropical island, but after months of getting ready, we needed a little R&R. So we sat at anchor off the coast of Catalina for a few days of rest and relaxation, went ashore to top off the tanks with fuel and water, and get, of course, the last fix of ice cream that we wouldn't have in our refrigerator for the rest of the trip. Finally, clearing the west end of Catalina Island with a finger rock pointing west, we set off into the horizon. Our last look of land for the next 19 days. A lot of horizon, a lot of ocean, but after the first 3 days of going through the potato patch, things calmed down, and now the boat with Elmer, our trusting wind vane, steering constantly, we could relax, read, and do a lot of nothing while she kept on tracking and putting on the miles. As you can see, the wheel is locked and Elmer is doing all the work. This is ideal sailing. Of course, as you most cruisers know, this is not exactly the weather that we have all the time. But this was paradise. The crew entertained themselves by writing, playing backgammon, growing a beer. Toward the end you may see how Danny little by little grew his French look. And actually it was a very relaxing crossing. Time goes slowly as you cruise. As you notice, we are doing about 7 knots. The sails are full. We're using a preventer on the main and preventer on the mizzen. We didn't want any accidents, even though Elmer tracked really, really well. And day after day, after hour, we kept on tracking and putting on the miles. There are 2,240 miles from Los Angeles to Hawaii. We took the southern route. We tried to go as far away as possible of all of the transit shipping lanes. And with that curve altogether, we put close to 2,600 miles in order to make our landfall in Hilo. We skirted quite a few chubascos, as they're called in Mexico, thunderstorms on the distance. They are wonderful because they can bring a little rain and the water will wash the salt off the decks. Sub number 2 concentrated a great deal in fishing. We were always trolling a meat hook. Unfortunately, we didn't catch a single fish on the 19.5 days that it took us to cross to Hawaii. We lost several lures, and for the look at the way that they bit through the steel leader and it broke it, we would not have liked to bring them on board. Finally, we reached the trades. We are no longer beam reaching. Now we set the boat for the downwind sail. Wing and wing. The mizzen is down. Elmer keeps on doing his job of steering relentlessly through day and night. And with a pole Genoa and a preventer on the main, the wind from the stern, with an apparent wind of only 7 knots, we are doing 5.5 knots, 4 knots. And that was most of the way that we went through the trade winds, except the last few days before the arrival to Hawaii, which you'll see how the weather has changed. Having lost the lateral pressure going wing and wing, the boat is more steady upside right, but unfortunately we roll more because we lose the pressure on the sails. And as you can see by the horizon, we had that constant roll on board, sometimes make it a little difficult to stay in the bunk. Now we are doing a steady 5 knots. The apparent wind is only about 7 knots. Of course, it gets deflected a little bit from the main, so you cannot really tell for sure what is the true wind. But we estimate that at least we must have 15 to 20 knots of wind through.